where Thorzain's down 0-1, and he's got to make some traction here because Thorzain, he's been losing a couple series also earlier this season. We need him to, he needs to step it up.
That's right. I mean, it's such a shame. Thorzain just lost his last TVC to Vibe last week, which was, I think, the Thorzain that we kind of know and love. He was playing really, really well. Just Vibe played exceptional.
Yep.
In my opinion.
I think so as well.
But Targa played a very frustrating style in game number 1. And if I'm in Thorzain's shoes right now, I'm actually a little bit tilted that it lost to something like that on Muspelheim of all maps. A 10 pool into Banelings. Like,
yeah.
It just doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound like
that's like a
work.
ZVZ cheese build that actually works on Korea. People actually do that.
Like, all Thorzain had to do last game was do a build that involves a wall, and he wins.
Yeah.
Right?
Like standard reactor Hellion would have been super safe.
Something like that. Or even command center first. Or not command center first, but command center on the high ground. And then you go for Hellions after that. Because you can pretty much fend off everything with just SCVs in the beginning stage. But look at this.
Oh, my.
Again,
Thorzain's going for double barracks, although it's a more eco 2 racks. There's no real, I guess there's no real downside to 2 racks, except that you do sacrifice your ability to go for a mid-game tech because you do go for a delayed command center. But a lot of people still do open up 2 racks on 2-player maps.
Yeah.
It's just that it's curious because Thorzain's just walling off with it. So is he trying to just scare his opponent, or is he going to actually commit to it?
It's really hard to actually tell because we don't know what he's planned for this. But one of those things that he could have planned is just frustration. Well, I guess he doesn't plan for that, but he says, I'm so angry for losing last game, I'm just going to 2 racks right here, and we could have another really short game because of it. He might just SEV pull. He could, but if you think about it, we've seen 2 2-raxes in a row, and that's not really Thorzain-esque.
Yeah,
Thorzain is Spoon Terran-esque.
He's the guy who wins through playing it slow, taking it slow, nice and easy, doesn't rush anything. Although he is capable of 2-raxing, don't get us wrong, it's just that this is a little bit uncharacteristic of him.
That's right.
And it could be telling of how confident he is, I guess, in terms of Targa or the matchup or even just the format of everything. Thorzain puts up the bunker, very nice little choke off here so that the Marine is nicely protected, but the SCV is exposed as well. Thorzain not going to be able to build the bunker in time, while the other SCV is getting chased off. The second SCV dies. That's actually huge. There's no bunker that's going to go up, and Thorzain's aggression has been thwarted.
Yeah, that's really bad luck by Thorzain. I mean, really, it shouldn't be on the side for that long, and because of that, he's suffering a little bit here and there, but it's 4 Marines to 8 Zerglings at this point, and I think Targa is just going to back up. He has a Spine Crawler, so basically he's pretty much immune to any further aggression. Targa hasn't yet seen that a command center is coming up here. If he does actually verify this, he doesn't have to make any more Spine Crawlers. A lot of time you'll make at least 2, just because you're really scared your opponent is going for some sort of all-in. But Targa, he's not even searching yet, so we're going to see when this Overlord actually moves to go see over here. Otherwise, I feel like Targa is playing it really, really risky.
So Targa,
there we go.
Well, let's see where he goes from here. He's actually droning. He's delaying gas very long, and getting mid-game gas is sort of important if you want to kind of control the map, but I guess at this point Targa says, I feel very far ahead, and I can squeeze out even more queens.
Right.
Thorzain's actually, I like this route by Thorzain. This is a route that Top likes to take, formerly from OGS. Just put on some more pressure with Marines while getting a 3rd command center and set up an even stronger mid to late game and just go for 3-base Terran economy with triple orbital.
Oh, it takes out this one Spine Crawler. Nicely done by Thorzain, excuse me. He takes out the Spine Crawler. It does leave a little tiny bit of an opening, but the fact of the matter is Thorzain is going that expansion, and his opponent knows that, so he really doesn't have to worry about some sort of continued all-in. On top of that, he sees the 3rd command center that you just talked about, Frodan. Once you actually verify the 3rd command center is up, you're saying, well, my opponent has no range to actually pressure me, right? It doesn't make sense for them to invest 800 minerals into something that doesn't do anything for you in terms of some sort of attack and then do the attack, right? It's just very, very counterintuitive. So from here, I feel like Targa knows, okay, my opponent is probably just going Marines, massing him like this. I shouldn't really have to worry about anything as long as I get Queens and Zerglings.
Yeah, very nice poke by Thorzain, realizing Queens don't even have enough energy for Transfuse. Have been using it greedily on the creep tumors, and of course Targa want to do that to be able to, get more map control again back slowly. He's still droning also as well. Getting pretty good saturation, but still no gases. Oh, just as I say that, he's taking his gases. Very delayed, though.
Yeah.
730.
One sec. I have to change one of the settings because I think it's going to affect the cast. All right. Sorry. Little tiny bit there. But, yeah, it's kind of interesting that we have such a delayed gas. Normally you get that metabolic boost out really, really early, just so that you can take a little bit of map control. You know your opponent is really relegated to going early Marines, and it's only off of 2 barracks. So go ahead and get that metabolic boost as soon as you do. You don't have to commit too many to Zerglings. Get that map control, and it really empowers you to get your 3rd base. But from here, Thorzain could have done a lot. He could have put a bunker over here, and that would complicate a lot of things as well, because obviously then Targa wouldn't be able to take his 3rd, even if he took map control. A bunker plus 4 Marines, they can definitely hold off a lot of Zerglings. So in this position, I feel like Targa was a little bit late. He's going to pay the price economically for it. But let's see what he can do with his tech, Frodan, because really that's where it's going to have to come into play.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, Andre, and I think Thorzain definitely has the right idea, because when you play triple orbital, you're just going to have to play defensive and greedy as possible. So he went for double engineering bay and 5 barracks before any kind of additional tech. And then that is just super, super greedy, because, you know, he has no way to really control AoE space. Like, you know, you don't have tanks, you don't have Hellions, you don't have things that can control, but at the same time, because Targa's delayed his gas so much, he can't really get that many units out. I mean, the scan shows that the layer is not even finished yet, and no 3rd base has been attempted either, so Thorzain has to be a little bit cautious, saying, you know, why has he been so slow taking a 3rd base? Is he preparing some massive attack? And that wouldn't be too bad of a guess, considering his Targa.
That's definitely right. I mean, right now he's thinking, oh, you're doing some sort of potential road circling Baneling, but I'm sure this 3rd base is going to throw him off a tad bit. For the most part, he has good map control, and I think Thorzain is just moving out on the map saying, well, if it's not going to be some sort of, you know, all-in, and I think I did do enough economic damage to you in the beginning, well, maybe I can go ahead and pressure up. So I'm not sure exactly where Thorzain feels where he is. I don't know if he really knows exactly how comfortable he is, I guess, with these Marines, but he's definitely acting as if he knows he has the advantage.
Yeah, and he's splitting up to make sure to dodge the Baneling. He targets him down and pulls away just in nick of time, but there are still a considerable amount of roaches, and Thorzain says, that's where all your gas went.
Yeah, very nice little pickoffs right there. The roaches are going to give a little bit of chase, but they should back up from here. Off creep, you can't really do much. There could be a couple of marauders right around the corner as well. Concussive shell is so effective in that fashion. But it looks like it's infestation pit. But at this point, I mean, Thorzain, he just does the very standard 2-2 timing from here. But he is set up to
he's going a lot of bio, though.
Yeah, he's set up to be pretty bio heavy. But I think the absolute best choice from here is that to actually just get your 2-2. Know that your 3rd base is ahead of your opponent. You're going to have just so much more than your opponent when your 2-2 hits. And from there, you can actually take the advantage. But
no, I agree. And I know exactly what you're saying, Andre, because when you start your 2-2 timing, you want to at least have like a good number of tanks to your core. But Thorzain's delayed it so much. In fact, he's getting double factory to kind of compensate for it, but he doesn't have like enough tanks. So when this when the 192nd upgrade finishes for 2-2, how many tanks will Thorzain really have? And even if he does he have enough power and the wallop behind it? Because Targa, he's playing super greedy, man. He's going for Hive as well this quick after delaying his gases this much. He doesn't have many units outside of his Zerglings and Roaches, and he's only getting 2 Infestors.
Yeah, the power is going to be the quantity of units rather than the quality of units. A lot of the 2-2 timing is based around just equalizing the upgrades. But yeah, I do agree with you. I mean, he's going to have a lot of Marines and Marauders, that's for sure. But I do worry a little bit because if you don't have enough siege tanks, a lot of times you just end up dying to Baneling hits. That's like really, really powerful. And look at that, Infestors are so powerful, but that one Infestor got picked off.
And he stopped the 4th from going up as well.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even see that. You're absolutely right.
Oh, it's a really good multi-prong aggression. So yeah, I mean, I think Thorzain's not in that bad of a spot. Because Targa doesn't have that much space control because there's not a lot of Infestors out into the field. Yeah. And it's almost the same thing. Thorzain delayed his tanks, but Targa's delayed his actual unit collection.
That's right. And that's important to note because you always think, well, you know, Zerg has an advantage at this point because Thorzain delayed that siege tank count, so he won't be able to keep up. But his opponent went roaches for quite a long time, and those roaches do eat up a little bit of gas. That's your lair timing. That is also, your upgrade timing. There's a lot of different things that you can actually say. That's pretty big opportunity cost. So I like where Thorzain is at this point. He is going for that 2-2 timing as we were talking about before. He needs to control this well. Remember, Ohana, not the best place for actually pushing all the way through up this, this one single file, especially with all the creep on there. So Thorzain needs to kind of emphasize trying to get as much map control as possible. When that happens, Ultras are already going to be out. And I'm sure Chitinous armor will be upgraded pretty soon as well.
Yeah, but I mean, 2-2 hasn't even finished yet for Targa. I mean, it will finish right before the battle, but that's kind of showing how Targa's been so greedy with his tech. He doesn't necessarily have a lot of he doesn't have a lot of the quality units because he's got a lot of Zerglings without that many good upgrades. Adrenaline's still about 75% done. Thorzain doesn't have that many tanks, but we'll see how effective his attack is. He's doing a nice job slowly pushing up here, spreading his Marines, trying to avoid getting fungled and flanked by Ultralisks. And the big thing is that he's trying to pressure the force slightly as well, provoking a couple Ultras with the Marines, and pushes forward, and here we go, a massive attack from Targa. The Banes are rolling really far behind, and Thorzain does have a good split, but all the tanks are in one direction, and that is not necessarily a good spot whatsoever. Thorzain loses almost everything. Targa on hot pursuit with his Infestors. Marines are trying to stim and running back, but that is not enough, and Targa crushes this army. His supplies stayed strong at 140 while Thorzain all of a sudden lost 50.
Yeah, very surprising attack over here. The top left-hand main was actually under attack throughout that whole battle, but it got cleaned up to what looks like a single spine crawler, so really nicely done. I don't think that was a full medevac drop. But yeah, you can really see the problem with, I guess, Thorzain's build, not having enough siege tanks. Kind of made him a little bit more prudent to walk on that creep. It was really scary for him, And when you're that scared in this, when you're doing a 2-2 timing, Hive Tech kicks in, and that's the thing that normally counters a lot of these 2-2 timings because you're very Marine heavy, and Marines and Infestors don't deal well with some sort of, Marines don't deal well with some sort of Infestor and Hive Tech combination, whether it be Ultras or it's Broodlord. So very well done by Targa. I like pushing these Ultras out really, really fast, but it looks like he's not committing too hard to it. Still hasn't got Chitinous armor, and on top of that, he's really hasn't gotten any more Ultras.
Yeah, but I mean, he's now starting to get pretty good Infestor count, especially with 6 popping out, and he'll have a lot more accruing. And I think Thorzain is still staying on this the tank bio composition, which is, of course, a really strong way to play. Taja's been really pushing for that kind of style in TVZ, just incorporating lots of Marauders, not necessarily just going Marine tank into things like Vikings late game, but having some Marauders to be able to control space, especially for the Ultralisks.
Oh yeah.
The Chitinous play though is pretty delayed from Ultralisks, and that's gonna empower the Marines, especially with 3-3 finishing up.
Yeah, that's right. It's kind of unfortunate because I feel like the power of this army is significantly weaker without that upgrade. It's just such a drastic difference in DPS with those Marines. So we'll see what happens with that. But the next engagement is going to start here. I completely agree, by the way, with your assessment of Marauders. I think Marauders are actually one of the most underused units when you're up against Zergling Infestor, because they can tank a lot of damage from the Zerglings. It clumps up the units, and then your siege tanks can do a lot. On top of that, killing Infestors is really helpful.
So never thought about the idea of Marauders force clumping from Zerglings. Just because everyone always thinks how poor DPS Marauder have compared to non-armored units. But you can see Thorzain's harassing the right side of the map, and Infestor count is pretty significant at this point. Thorzain is forced to withdraw, but he wants to do this to secure his 4th base, trying to draw the attention away from the left-hand side while he sets up a nice perimeter. But Targa's army is still very intimidating. Chitinous Blading has finished, and +3/+3 will finish for Targa's melee as well as carapace. So this is probably the strongest Targa can get until he gets Broodlords out into the field. And that might set up a very strong timing. I don't know if Thorzain can necessarily hold unless he's got a very nice tank count. He does have 10, but I feel like he doesn't... Oh, because most of them are at the 3rd. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
I was like wondering, like, because the tank count seems so high, but I didn't know where half those tanks were. They're all jumbled up in the back. Do you like this positioning from Thorzain against Targa?
I do like it, actually. The reason for that is because you need layers whenever you're going up against Zergling Ultra. You need them to, again, bunch up. They bunch up on 2 units, Marauders and and siege tanks. And what you normally need is those layers for more positions, more shots to actually have that clump up. So I do agree with how Targa is actually playing this game out. It looks like Thorzain's going to be doing double-pronged harassment over here. Over to the right-hand side, it looks like he's going to snipe this one hatchery. I think he'll be able to get it, but it's really, really difficult. It's weird that he's incorporating...
He's bringing some tanks.
Yeah, siege tanks.
Maybe he's trying to... Is he trying to trade out any supply by any chance? No, he's really just making Marauders
Siege tanks are really, really good against this army composition. I mean, dealing with those Zerglings, siege tanks are one of the best ways just because that splash damage.
But now Thorzain's tanks are in the front, Andre. The Ultras are going straight into the heat of the battle, and Thorzain also is clipping all of his bio. The Investors haven't really even utilized Fungal yet. There's the Fungal. Investitarians coming to destroy everything. Targa also pushing out a lot more Ultras and Zerglings to reinforce. That wall was a great structure of architecture, but it was not able to hold off against the Ultralist. I mean, this is just so much DPS, and Thorzain doesn't really have an answer. And, oh my goodness. Targa's already in the production line of his of Thorzain. I think Thorzain might be dead.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't think he'll die to this push just yet, but the second push will be really, really difficult to actually fend off. Losing that many siege tanks is a big problem for Terran. It's hard to come back in those situations because you need it to actually be, I guess, continuing on, and you need that that compound. It's almost like compound interest with those siege tanks. How much better they get at higher numbers. Planetary Fortress will go down. I think, yeah, that's definitely a killing blow.
Oh man, all those mules.
About, man.
Oh, the mules escape. As long as the mules survive, Andre. But Thorzain's drying up on all three of his bases. His main, his natural, his third. There's nothing really going on for Thorzain. He does have a decent bank, but he doesn't really have a good position. He can't really move out to the fourth safely without compromising his defenses towards the center of the map. Targa's re-establishing creep presence finally. He's pushing in yet again, catching a lot of units out of position. Thorzain not able to protect the tanks adequately. In fact, all of his bio is very weak as well from over-stimming.
Wow. Targa is playing an amazing brand of StarCraft. I mean, his endgame is really, really good.
Nice transfuse as well.
I think he's actually way ahead of Thorzain just because of killing this fourth base, and that is really, really detrimental. And look at this, the third base is gone. So yes, I think over and over, Targa can actually suicide on this fourth base and just win like that. But we'll see. There is a drop going to the top left yet again.
Drop with a huge, actually double drop worth of units. Thorzain also trying to just whittle down numbers. This is what you need to do with bio late game, just have mobility. And then look at that, Thorzain picking up, going to drop into the main. This is what you need to do as Terran. This is good response from Thorzain.
That's right, but he has to be very careful. I mean, one infestor hit, all of a sudden, just like that, your units are dead, man. 2
infestor hits.
And he's going to trap these medevacs. And remember, this is 20 supply of Thorzain's. That constitutes a very, very large amount of his army. And when you're in low eco, you can't really be wasting units like that. It's very difficult to actually come back into a game when you're continuously just throwing drop after drop after drop. I think he should have just taken out the base on the left-hand side and backed up from there. But we'll see how he actually does against this incoming battle. I think Thorzain won't be able to stop that. That's really difficult.
One thing that's I think is really tough. One thing that is going in favor for Thorzain, which might make it tough, is that Targa's Greater Spire has been so severely delayed that Thorzain can really utilize these tanks. Because by now, I mean, you would kind of scale back the Ultra production. But one thing I think is what makes it good in this situation is that Targa wants to keep pressuring this fourth base. Look, I mean, he's never doing anything but just denying, and Thorzain really can't get any sort of strong economy behind anything because he realizes once this army dies, he's really got nothing. His third base is looking very dry, Andre.
And that's why he's really not looking to engage against Targa, because he knows Targa has a working base, and he can't really do those types of trades until he has his own working base, because obviously you won't have any reinforcements after some sort of confrontation. But here we go. It looks like he's pushing up a little bit. He could expand to the bottom right-hand corner. I would prefer that much over the mid-left-hand position.
Yep.
But, you know, right now it's a ticking time bomb with those Broodlords incoming. And without any Vikings, I don't know how Thorzain can accurately defend against something like Broodlords, especially with the compilation of of Ultras and Infestors into that mix. I mean, that's such a powerful mix just because Ultras tank so much damage and can protect the Broodlords from any, you know, type of Marine packs trying to get way too far in.
Nice little mini drop from Thorzain, trying to distract Targa while he pressures the 4th base. Targa doesn't have that much economy himself either, because this 5th base is constantly being harassed by Medivacs. But also Thorzain has finally regained center control and controlled the amount of creep. That's something that Thorzain's been doing very well all game. But now I would consider Thorzain to start expanding, maybe even to the right side of the map. If he can't really secure this left side, because Targa seems to be really zoning it, and I think Thorzain has a really good control over the right side now.
That's right, but oh, unfortunate. These are units that Thorzain really cannot afford to lose. He loses a couple of tanks and like 4 Marauders. Very unfortunate. Is Targa actually going to push in here? You know, it's tough to call these. I feel like he wants to lead with Infested Terrans. And look at the layers. I mean, Siege Tank's all behind this, and not only that, you have Marines and Marauders, but yes, we will have burrowed Infestors. And what he's looking for is a big unburrow. He goes in with everything. No! He's going to go with it right now. Infested Terrans are going to pop up directly on top of the Siege Tanks, but really don't do as much as they thought.
Oh, the Vikings in a fantastic position, Andre. The Vikings are able to whittle down the Brewer numbers very nicely. Only 2 remain, but here comes the Infestor Ultra composition to completely devastate the tank line. Tanks don't even know where to shoot. They're turning their heads left and right. And the bio is not able to really withstand. Thorzain's supply is looking very weak in terms of his army units. 44 workers. Targa, is he going to 2-0 the Swedish national champion from WCS?
I can't believe this. He's actually doing it, Frodan. He's monstrously ahead, breaking that. And look at how many Ultras are still left over. He's at 5-3.
He's got 9 Ultras.
Stupendous. On top of that, he's getting his +2 missile attacks. I can't stress enough how much I love that. It really empowers those Infested Terrans. A lot of times people are just like, no, I don't need missile attacks at all. Wrong, you do. Infested Terrans help out so much with taking out Medivacs.
And he's transfusing the Ultras, bringing the Queens in the middle of the map. Don't matter if he has creep, Queens will take their time and waddle on over to help their Zerg compatriots. Let's see what Thorzain is, how he's doing economically. He's got 42 workers, but he only has like 1 base, and the other base that he has is blocked by a Zergling. Targa trying to see if he can crash it. He knows, he smells the scent of victory, and Thorzain trying to force the Ultras into a nice choke. That's what you need to do, but the fact is he has nothing really. He doesn't have minerals, and he needs this base, and he's constantly getting denied.
You know, that's all you have to play at this point. Deny, 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 deny. And that's what he's been doing. Targa's playing a really nice brand of StarCraft. I'm actually thoroughly impressed, even though we saw a very cheesy game number 1. I mean, this is Targa at his best, I think.
No, I think that's kind of the power of Targa. People are like, oh man, is he just this cheesy guy that, you know, all of a sudden lucked his way to top 4? No, man. When you play a tournament like DreamHack, where you're constantly in the heat of competition for 12 hours in a day, you need to be able to handle all kinds of styles and play in different ways. Targa showing his macro, his ability to read his opponent, showing his ability to punish. I think he's played a really good series this game. And despite Thorzain, you know, holding on, and of course, this is like classic Thorzain. Don't die until you realize there's absolutely no options left. I think Thorzain's thoroughly outplayed him this series.
I think so too. And I would actually say that game 1 actually affected this game in particular a little bit more. I mean, I'm sure Thorzain was like, oh gosh, I don't want to die to another all-in push. But at the same time, he did go double racks. I don't know. It's very interesting. Well, double racks can defend against really anything on this map, since you could just wall off again with another barrack. So you're not really worried about Zergling bailing all-ins, but still, I mean, Thorzain felt like he could.
Well, Thorzain forced to lift off, but Thorzain's like, I guess I won't be harvesting any more gas. But he's got 3,600 gas, but no minerals left. GG.
Wow,
and Targa takes a 2-0 victory over Thorzain, the Swedish WCS champion. My goodness, Targa has just been playing very, very well. I'm actually like pleasantly surprised, because Targa, we always kind of talked about what would be like if Targa was able to play under good conditions when he's not in Australia, playing on 3G wireless internet from his phone to his laptop, cross continent. Like, I mean, this is the Targa that we were kind of like jokingly hyping, like he would be like ridiculously good. But he's come up and he showed up to this season. I am very proud of him. He's now 1-2 because he did lose 2 ZVZs early on.
Yeah.
But man, this is really cool to see. Like another European that's looking strong.